The purpose of this video is to provide educational content to employees in the field of natural resources. You might be wondering if there's any meaningful new subject you can learn to enhance your agency's policies or professional growth. There might be many different subjects, but let's give ecological economics a chance. In order to go into detail about this new field of research, it's important to recap our current understanding of the economy. Our current economic situation is built off of neoclassicism thought from the 19th century. Neoclassical economics emphasizes the demands of the consumer. It focuses on supply and demand as the driving forces behind the production, pricing, and consumption of goods and services. This economic paradigm uses monetary units to assign value to nearly everything. In this paradigm, ethics is most often left out of decisions that affect the economy and society. It wants and demands constant growth, which puts us in the predicament we're currently in. This orthodox approach to economics wants people to think of society and the economy as completely separate organizations. A great example of the negative environmental impact from this economic approach is that of the bison. Bison were numbered in the millions during the start of the 19th century. Their pelts were highly valued in European society, so when the Americans engaged in westward expansion, this resource became more available. The advancements in weaponry and transportation also allowed for this resource to become more extractable. Driven by consumer activity in Europe, American hunters and trappers killed bison extensively. To put it simply, there's great market demand and an easily accessible supply. Eventually, the population declined significantly to the point of only a few hundred bison living at the end of the 20th century. There's many more examples of catastrophes like this, and they're mainly all due to economic thought. The story of the bison has been repeated. Even currently, Atlantic bluefin tuna are only at 4% of its pre-commercial fishing population. This keystone fish species will go extinct in our lifetime due to our supply and demand consumer habits. These instances are stark reminders of how traditional economic models often overlook the critical balance with nature. The relentless pursuit of profit, driven by supply and demand dynamics, has repeatedly led to the depletion of vital species, signaling a profound disconnect between our economic activities and ecological realities. But is there another way we can think about the economy? Ecological economics is neither a subdiscipline of ecology nor economics. It doesn't try to adhere ecological thought to our economic systems. Just like in ecology, where everything is connected, it seeks to connect society, the economy, and nature under one canopy. It's also an interdisciplinary approach combining aspects of ecology, economics, psychology, sociology, anthropology, and history. By being interdisciplinary, ecological economics seeks to come up with an all-encompassing approach to lead us in the future of a post-growth world. To break down the subject further, ecological economics is like thinking about the environment and the economy as one big interconnected system. Imagine our planet as a big warehouse. Everything we make or buy comes from stuff in this warehouse, like trees, minerals, or water. But this warehouse has limits. It's not endless. With our current pace of using resources, this warehouse will become void and empty. So ecological economics studies how to use these resources wisely, so we don't run out and hurt our planet at the same time. It's like trying to balance our spending with our savings, but for the earth. Ecological economics assigns value to all aspects of biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem and economy. This value is not based on monetary measures, but how important it is for nature and humanity to coexist. It provides tools to measure national growth in ways besides gross domestic product or GDP. Ecological economics wants to limit our energy growth in order for the world and humanity to survive. As someone who works in conservation or preservation, you understand the complexity of interconnectedness. If you change something upstream, there will be downstream effects. Ecological economics seeks to address these system-based concerns. How can ecological economics benefit your agency? Unlike traditional neoclassical or environmental economics, which often reduce environmental issues to mere externalities with monetary values, ecological economics offers a more holistic approach. For instance, how can we realistically assign a monetary value to the air purification done by trees, or the decomposition work of bacteria and fungi. Traditional models, including neoclassical economics, fail to adequately account for the importance of biodiversity and ecosystem health. They operate under a premise where the rarity of a species paradoxically increases its market value, potentially encouraging its extinction. This perspective is not only ethically questionable, but also threatens the sustainability of ecosystems and biomes. Ecological economics encourages us to rethink these paradigms, focusing on the integral value and sustainability of natural systems. Apart from rethinking our paradigm, we need to ensure our society and economy is sustainable, just, and vibrant. With that in mind, let's talk about equity's role in ecological economics. When making new policy decisions, think with equity, be fair and impartial. How can we ensure everyone is able to use this resource? Are we limiting it to certain populations? We need to provide resources to people based on their individual needs. Policies should ensure that the needs of future generations are not compromised by current actions. This involves conserving resources and maintaining the health of ecosystems for the long-term benefit of humanity. Equity is not just about treating all people fairly, it also includes taking care of the whole environment. This idea means we understand that every part in nature, like plants, animals, rivers, and forests, are important and deserve a chance to exist. Ecological economics is about combining this care for the environment with how we make economic decisions. In simple terms, it's about making sure that when we decide how to use money and resources, we also think about keeping the natural world healthy. We also need to bring in the local community to come up with decisions and policies. By doing this, we allow for outside input, community involvement, and a chance for voices of the marginalized populations to be heard. Letting the marginalized communities in on a conversation and decision is what equity is truly about, ensuring everyone is treated just and fairly. The local community's input allows for the community to participate in budgetary decisions that would come out of public funds. Considering the majority of public funds comes from taxpayers, it makes perfect sense for them to be in the room and have a voice. By involving communities in sustainable actions and policymaking, individuals feel more connected and responsible for the local and global environment. This fosters a sense of ownership and commitment to sustainable practices. Although the initial concept of efficiency fits quite well with equity, we need to take a closer look. In fact, when implementing equitable policies, it could increase the efficiency of use for a natural resource. This would bring along the Jevons paradox or the rebound effect. The rebound effect illustrates that making something more efficient doesn't necessarily reduce its usage. This occurs because as a resource becomes more efficient to use, often due to technological advancements or policy changes, its cost of usage decreases. This lower cost can lead to an increase in demand for the resource. As a result, the total consumption of the resource may increase, despite its more efficient usage. This paradox challenges the assumption that efficiency gains automatically lead to reduced consumption. The US government implements a policy that subsidizes the replanting of trees. This policy is a form of technological or procedural advancement that makes the process of growing and harvesting timber more efficient. Due to the subsidy, the overall cost of harvesting trees is reduced. This is because the subsidy either lowers the cost of replanting or accelerates the growth cycle of trees, making them ready for harvest sooner than they would be without the subsidy. With a reduced cost and quicker turnaround time for tree harvesting, the timber becomes more readily available and potentially cheaper. This increase in availability and decrease in cost can lead to a higher demand for timber products. People in industries that use timber may increase their usage because it's more affordable or more readily available. Despite the initial intention of the policy to promote sustainable practices by encouraging replanting, the overall effect is an increase in the consumption of timber. The easier and cheaper it is to obtain timber, the more it is used. This increased usage can negate the benefits of the more efficient replanting process. This situation exemplifies the Jevons paradox. The policy, while making timber production more efficient and seemingly more sustainable, actually leads to an increased consumption of timber. Instead of conserving the resource, the policy inadvertently encourages its greater use. A more localized manifestation of this principle, which you might experience directly, is seen in the decision to pave a gravel road for safety or improved access. Much like the timber policy, the intention here is to improve efficiency and safety. A paved road undoubtedly offers easier and faster travel, much like the replanting subsidy makes timber more readily available. However, this ease of access can lead to increased usage of the road, paralleling the increased demand for timber. This heightened road usage can lead to issues like over-tourism. With easier access, more people are likely to visit previously less accessible areas, potentially causing environmental strain. Over-tourism can have devastating impacts on local ecosystems, similar to how increased timber consumption challenges forest sustainability. In response, measures like visitor caps or permits may become necessary to regulate the influx of people and protect the area's natural resources. Therefore, in some cases, maintaining the gravel road, despite its perceived inefficiency, might be more beneficial in the long run. While paving offers safer and more accessible routes, it could inadvertently lead to increased traffic and environmental strain. By keeping the road unpaved, visitor numbers are naturally controlled, similar to how a more cautious approach to timber harvesting might preserve forests. This helps to safeguard the area from the negative consequences of over-tourism, preserving its ecosystem in a manner reminiscent of the original goals of the timber policy. Equity in the rebound effect shows us that managing the environment and resources is complicated and needs an interdisciplinary approach. Sometimes even simple solutions can lead to unexpected and complicated problems. This teaches us that we need to think carefully about the wider effects and possible surprises when we try to make things better, especially in dealing with nature and resources. In conclusion, the field of ecological economics offers a revolutionary way of thinking about our planet's resources and our economic systems. It urges us to consider the intrinsic value of the natural world, not just its monetary worth. This approach is crucial for those in natural resource management, conservation, and preservation, as it aligns economic growth with ecological sustainability. By embracing the principles of ecological economics, your agency can lead in creating policies that are not only economically sound, but also environmentally responsible. This means valuing biodiversity and ecosystem health and ensuring equitable access to resources. It's about making decisions that are fair for all, including future generations, and integrating local community insights into policymaking for more inclusive and effective outcomes. Remember, our actions today shape the world of tomorrow. By considering the interconnectedness of the economy and ecology, we can forge a path that respects and preserves our planet's finite resources, ensuring a sustainable and equitable future for all. Ecological economics is not just an academic concept. It's a necessary framework for responsible stewardship of our planet. As you move forward in your roles, keep these principles at the forefront of your decision-making, and let them guide you towards a more sustainable, just, and prosperous future for everyone.